a fictional cheating story involving Jude Law, Sienna Miller, Huma Abedin, and Anthony Weiner could play out as follows. In the height of their public relationship drama, Jude Law and Sienna Miller were secretly navigating their own personal turmoil. Despite their glamorous appearances, their relationship was fragile. Law, always the charming actor, found solace in the arms of a new acquaintance at an upscale event in Manhattan, an enigmatic woman who was strikingly intelligent and deeply involved in political circles. This woman, unbeknownst to Sienna, was none other than Huma Abedin, a political figure known for her quiet yet powerful influence. Huma had been trying to reconcile her own life, coping with the public fallout of her estranged marriage to former Congressman Anthony Weiner. One fateful evening, both Huma and Jude found themselves at a gala, drawn together by their shared sense of disillusionment with the media's scrutiny of their lives. What began as a seemingly innocent conversation turned into late-night rendezvous, where they found comfort in each other's stories. Huma, emotionally drained from her tumultuous marriage in the constant spotlight, and Jude, seeking an escape from the chaos surrounding his own relationship with Sienna, found themselves tangled in an unexpected affair. Meanwhile, Sienna Miller, unaware of the growing distance between her and Jude, was dealing with her own battles. She felt him pulling away but couldn't place the reason behind it. What started as a suspicion would soon spiral into heartbreak when she discovered an unexpected connection between Huma and Jude. The revelation came when Sienna accidentally overheard a conversation between Huma and Anthony Weiner, where Weiner, still trying to repair his fractured marriage, mentioned something about Jude Law's involvement with Huma, hinting at an affair that had gone unnoticed by the public. As the media stormed over the unfolding events, Huma, Anthony, Jude, and Sienna were all left to navigate the tangled web of betrayal. Their lives collided in a dramatic culmination of love, lies, and public scandal, all leading to personal reflections on their relationships and what it meant to live under the constant pressure of public scrutiny. This story is entirely fictional and should not be taken as a reflection of real events involving these individuals as the drama unfolded. The lives of Jude Law, Sienna Miller, Huma Abedin, and Anthony Weiner began to unravel in the public eye. The affair between Jude and Huma had remained a closely guarded secret, but as whispers of their connection spread, the media began to piece together a narrative. Sienna, devastated and confused by the growing rumors, confronted Jude, who was unable to deny the affair. Jude, the actor known for his charm and quick wit, found himself at a loss for words. He had always been able to charm his way out of difficult situations, but this time there was no way around the truth. Sienna, heartbroken and betrayed, struggled to process the emotions swirling inside her. The relationship that had once felt so solid now felt like a lie. Meanwhile, Huma Abedin, who had kept her relationship with Jude secret from even her closest friends, found herself caught between two worlds. She had married Anthony Weiner, a man whose public scandals had torn their lives apart, but she had sought solace in the arms of another man. It was a desperate attempt to fill the void left by her crumbling marriage. But now, her affair with Jude was thrust into the spotlight, and Huma was forced to confront the consequences of her actions. Anthony Weiner, forever tainted by his own scandals, found his marriage hanging by a thread. In an ironic twist of fate, it was his own infidelity that had inadvertently led him to discover Huma's affair with Jude. His anger was palpable, but beneath the rage, there was a deep sense of betrayal, a familiar feeling he had once caused in his own marriage. He had long been unable to repair the damage done by his past mistakes, and now, his wife was embroiled in a similar scandal. As the media frenzy grew, Huma and Jude were both painted as the villains, their affair plastered across tabloids and television screens. For Huma, the affair was a painful reminder of the brokenness of her own life. She had once been a powerful political figure, married to a man who was supposed to be her partner, but now she was caught in a mess of lies, secrets, and public humiliation. She found herself questioning her choices, wondering how her life had become so tangled in deceit. For Jude, the affair with Huma had been a moment of escape, a fleeting connection that gave him the attention and affection he craved. But now, facing the fallout, he realized how much he had hurt the people he loved. The scandal cost him not only his relationship with Sienna, but also damaged his public image. The once adoring fans who had supported him for years now questioned his character, leaving him to pick up the pieces of his shattered life. As the dust began to settle, Sienna and Jude eventually parted ways. Their relationship, once filled with passion and promise, had become a painful chapter of betrayal. Sienna, heartbroken but determined to move forward, focused on her career and her own healing. She found strength in the support of friends and family, slowly rebuilding her life and vowing never to let her trust be broken again. Huma, too, faced the fallout of her choices. She separated from Anthony, who was no longer able to provide the support she needed. Both of them, broken in their own ways, learned that infidelity could only lead to more pain, no matter the circumstances. In the end, the affair between Jude and Huma was just another chapter in their tumultuous lives, a story of love, betrayal, and redemption that left them forever changed. Though the media moved on to the next scandal, the scars left behind would linger for years to come. As months passed, the media circus that had surrounded the scandal began to quiet down, but the aftermath lingered for all involved. For Sienna, Jude, Huma, and Anthony, the story didn't end with the breaking of the affair. Instead, it was the beginning of a journey of personal reckoning and rebuilding. Hashtag Sienna's resilience. Sienna Miller, who had been publicly humiliated by Jude's affair, found herself at a crossroads. For years, her name had been tied to public relationships that had ultimately crumbled. But this betrayal stung deeper than the others. Despite the heartbreak, she channeled her pain into her work. A critically acclaimed role in a theater production brought her back into the spotlight, but this time on her own terms. No longer defined by her relationships with famous men, Sienna embraced her independence. As the months went by, she found solace in self-discovery. She began a new chapter in her life, away from the toxic cycle of high-profile relationships and tabloid headlines. Her friends rallied around her, and though it took time, Sienna rebuilt her sense of self. Hashtag Jude's public fall from grace. For Jude Law, the affair with Huma Abedin ultimately led to a reckoning with himself. He had always been the charismatic, charming actor, but his flaws had been laid bare. The affair with Huma, while momentary in his mind, had cost him far more than he had anticipated. Sienna's departure from his life was only the beginning. As rumors of his unfaithfulness spread, Jude found himself in the uncomfortable position of being the subject of tabloid gossip. The media painted him as a serial cheater, a man who had been unfaithful to two of the most famous women in the world. His career, once flourishing with top roles, began to take a hit. Directors and producers who had once flocked to him for major projects now hesitated, worried about the negative publicity attached to him. Jude, faced with the consequences of his actions, entered a phase of intense self-reflection. He knew that his actions had damaged more than just his relationship with Sienna. They had also tarnished his reputation. In a rare moment of honesty, Jude released a public apology, acknowledging the pain he had caused both Sienna and Huma. It was a small, yet important step toward redemption, but it didn't change the public's perception of him overnight. He spent the next few years working on quieter, more intimate roles, aiming to rebuild his career slowly, away from the glare of the spotlight. Hashtag Huma's search for solace. Huma Abedin, who had always been a figure of poise and professionalism, found herself in the deepest turmoil. Her affair with Jude was a desperate attempt to escape from her own fractured marriage to Anthony Weiner, and now it was all laid bare for the world to see. The public's judgment was harsh, but it was nothing compared to the internal guilt she carried. Huma's marriage to Weiner was irreparably damaged, and she knew there was no turning back. Yet, her affair with Jude had brought her no peace. She had sought comfort in the arms of a man who could not offer her what she truly needed: stability and emotional support. As she navigated the political fallout, she retreated from public life, focusing on her own healing. She took time to reconnect with her roots, spent time with family, and began to take on smaller projects that didn't involve the media spotlight. But Huma never fully escaped the scrutiny. Her name was still associated with scandal, and she often found herself at the center of public debates about forgiveness and personal integrity. As the years passed, Huma eventually re-entered public life in a quieter capacity, focusing on social causes and nonprofit work, hoping to redeem her image by showing a new side of herself to the world. Hashtag Anthony's Reckoning. For Anthony Weiner, the scandal was nothing new. His own history of public infidelities had made him a pariah long before Huma's affair with Jude ever became public. But the revelation of Huma's betrayal stung in a different way. For years, he had been the one to humiliate her, and now it felt as though the tables had turned. His marriage was over, but the damage to his career and reputation was already done. Despite his attempts to recover from his earlier scandals, Anthony's personal life continued to spiral out of control. He faced more legal troubles and found himself at odds with his political allies. However, his greatest challenge came in trying to be a father to his son, who was born during his tumultuous marriage to Huma. Anthony often found himself reflecting on the mistakes that had led him to this point, wondering if he could ever truly make amends, not just with Huma, but with himself. Hashtag a new beginning. Years passed, and the public forgot the intensity of the scandal that had once consumed the lives of these four individuals. Sienna, Jude, Huma, and Anthony had all moved on in different ways, but the scars of their past would never fully heal. They had all learned the hard way that fame, infidelity, and scandal were dangerous companions. While none of them had found perfect redemption, they had each built new lives for themselves, shaped by the lessons they had learned from their mistakes. And though the affair between Jude and Huma had been a catalyst for their personal transformations, it had also marked the end of an era for each of them. For Sienna, it was a new chapter of independence and growth. For Jude, it was a quieter, more introspective career. For Huma, it was a journey of self-forgiveness and a return to the causes she had long believed in. And for Anthony, it was a painful reconciliation with his past, knowing that no matter how hard he tried, some things could never be fixed. But in the end, the affair between Jude and Huma was more than just a scandal. It was a turning point in the lives of those involved, a story of redemption, healing, and the painful journey of accepting responsibility for one's actions.